Hey guys, we're live. Hey, listen, um, you know, today's Wednesday. I wanted to make my first attempt to make a live stream for a couple people out there that wanted to get an idea on or of how I'm doing in year one. Here, let's fix this camera. And let's start at the beginning. It's a good place to start. So I'm Mario, Northeast Wash Pros in Greater Philadelphia. I am inside of my first 12 months inside of with a pressure washing company, exterior cleaning and restoration company, and things have been going well. There's ups and downs. First year has been exciting. It has been busy. It has been confusing at times. You're trying to there's a lot to unpack and there's a lot to learn in your first year. um, there's a lot to learn every year, but I've been doing my best to find as many mentors as I can. This was last year, pre-launching the company. This was about August of last year. I know it was kind of past midway through the season for Greater Philadelphia. If you're looking at um, starting in the spring, which is now that I find out is extremely busy, and then it kind of backloads into the rest of the year. But either way, look, I don't want to get too far down the path. What I wanted to start out talking to everybody today was, and I don't even mind if I have no one listening. I just want to be able to kind of go back and see where I was coming from, make a kind of a video journal of my entrepreneurial experience in my first year. And so it is August. We just came off of a very slow July. I'll go through a couple of my goals. My 2020 goals were 2,000 in revenue for January, 3,000 for February, 10,000 in March, 10,000 in April, 15,000 in May, 15,000 in June, 15 for July, 10 in August, 5 in September, 5 October, 2,000 in November. And I don't expect to have much in December since we're getting more into the colder part of beginning of winter. So as of right now, my goals are about 90%. I'm 90% to goal right now. I made my January, February, March, April, May, and basically June goal. All of those numbers, I came in at about 14,000 in June. July was definitely less than the 15,000 that I had intended and goaled for. I think coronavirus had a lot to do with it. I think people were focused on getting out of the house. If you have a family and you have your kids, you want to get down to the shore or you want to take a vacation, and you kind of are, in my opinion, I think a lot of people were just away and trying to get away from the house, that they've been locked up or sequestered in. And so I think that had something to do with it, although I feel part of that is my fault too. I feel that I could have been more aggressive with July, and what had ended up happening is we had a lot of we had a lot of um, we had a lot of opportunities and estimates out there, but I think I got a little bit lax in follow up. And so I think that that was my main issue, and my main mistake that I made for July was not following up and calling the clients. After I give them the estimate, do you follow up the next day? Do you leave a message, and then if you don't hear from them, follow up the following day? It's a lot of it is a lot of follow up at the beginning. And I know some guys now are so established that they say, oh, well, I'm not following up on anybody. Well, my closing rate was high 90s coming into July. So I kind of thought, hey, my pricing seems to be about right. I'm doing a good job. I have close to 35-star reviews on Google. But with that follow up, what that really does is it ensures that pipeline continues to grow. So if I had 15 estimates the week before, well, you better make sure that you're doing at least 2 follow-up calls or an email to those people to make sure that either they've moved on or they haven't, or just got busy. So I would recommend the very first thing that you do is make sure you have a good follow-up plan. Customer Factor is a good CRM, which has kind of built-in follow-ups in it. But I think a lot of people really respond well. People, meaning clients, respond well to a personal phone call. So when and I say, hey, this is Mario, president of Northeast Wash Pros, giving you a quick call to follow up on the proposal that we had sent to you, what you requested us, to give you an estimate for cleaning. What are your thoughts and any concerns? Have you had a chance to review it? And then shut up and wait for them to tell you, yeah, well, I haven't had a chance to review it, or I did, and it seems a little bit high compared to a couple other people. We're getting multiple quotes, whatever it is, and that's fine. That's capitalism. But you want to make sure that they understand, okay, yeah, listen, so we are a high-end exterior cleaning company, and the reason we are, high ticket or high-end means that we have the proper insurances. We go above and beyond what the normal, cleaners do. You have a lot of, and cite examples of the reason why. Make sure that you review your estimate or your proposal before you go into this and have this call. Say, you have Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and they have a beautiful, huge $1 million house with a lot of landscaping. Well, you got to make sure logistically you're thinking, okay, we're going to have to probably take our time a little bit more. So we're not trampling their brand new landscaping. And that's always a great thing is, if you do an estimate and then the week before you get there, they have all of their landscaping completely just done. And you're like, oh, okay, so you're a little stuck there. But anyway, I digress. So we want to make sure that you are following up with your clients at least twice. So the touches matter. An email and a phone call is usually the minimum, if not 2 phone calls. So anyway, so my 2020 goals, again, we're like 90% range, and it could be better. And that's pretty much my fault. So until I have a system where I'm having someone actually do the estimate follow-ups, which I'm actually close to finding someone who's interested in doing that. It's just that my main issue right now is because we're slow, finding work for my crew has been a real concern. So, if we're doing 2 jobs a day for 5 days a week, and some guys are saying, hey, can I do a weekend? For the most part, I want them to not have to work weekends, but in some circumstances, they just want to work. And so we try to figure that out. First year issues. So, at the very beginning, I started to really research what we were doing for the company, how we're going to approach it, the business plan, the financials, how are we going to float this, how are we going to buy this, or how are we training, what chemicals are we going to buy. So I kept a very kind of a detailed notebook, so I would constantly go back. And I think the main issue here is just making sure that you don't try to do this just on your own from the very beginning. You need to find a mentor, someone local. And I'll tell you what, I've really been blessed to have a bunch of people who are currently mentoring me, who are in 8 years and beyond into this. Some of which have had 28 years in this business, and it's been interesting. So I probably say I would probably say I have about 5 mentors that, some are friends that become mentors, and some are definitely mentors, that have like 30 years experience. But, it's important to, I think, to your business, if you are wondering about how to do this line of work. I mean, society and the planet as a whole, it was built on the backs of those who come before us. And if you really want to streamline your business and you really want to succeed, you need to find a mentor. So, and really utilize them, and not just call them when you need them. You got to call them for no reason at all, just to check in and say, hey, how are you? And is there anything that I could be doing for you? What are you doing? How's business growing for you? Just give them, be their friend. I mean, that's really it. Build that rapport, build that relationship. And I kind of I think that I have a good knack for that. And that's why it's worked for me. But centers of influence. I want to talk about centers of influence for a moment. COIs for short. So your COIs should range. I mean, your centers of influence should be everyone from friends, family, people who are in the industry. I've had a couple people call me and ask me for help on jobs, that might be a little bit crazy busy for them. And if they can hire us, then that's fine. We'll definitely be able to come out and help. Um, Interior cleaners, so real estate attorneys, realtors, construction companies, churches, local playgrounds and daycares, HOAs, local businesses, restaurants. And I want to stop for a second and talk about commercial versus residential. For me, I had maybe $10 to $15,000 worth of work at the beginning of the year, and that just dried up. And so, that might be a good reason why I'm actually a little behind in my numbers. But I mean, we're doing okay. You want to make sure that your goals are pretty aggressive. And my real goal is $20,000 a month. I want to try to get to $20,000 a month and beyond that. And yeah. So anyway, to digress again, I wanted to just talk to you about COIs and make sure that you are writing down a COI list. If you don't use Excel, then use a notebook. Just really make it clean though, like tear a page out and rewrite it as, things get a little bit messy, rewrite it, and just keep an ongoing track of who you're reaching out to, their names and what they do, and maybe even categorize. I have a helicopter right by my window. Categorize each COI by, if they're in real estate, if there are churches or nonprofits. So basically they don't get taxed. So, you want to make sure that you are staying in touch with them. That constant contact is important. And then from there, it's the person that you're talking to, what industry are they in? How many times have you contacted them, and have they given you business? I think it's very important to make sure you're tracking everything you can. Now, I try to do that through Excel. Sometimes I don't have anything except a pad of paper and a pen handy, outside of my cell phone. So I'm writing things down, and then I find myself using up double time to transfer that information to an Excel spreadsheet so I can digitize everything that I need. Let's see. So new hires, managing your sales and marketing and your SEO. New hires are definitely something that I think a lot of people struggle with. And I think that it's important to really take it seriously, whatever you're going to be doing for your strategy to hire people. So right now we have about 5 or 6 part-time people that float around from being like close to full-time. But most of them do start, part-time. Some of these jobs I'm still doing on my own. But for the most part, I usually have an assistant or a helper, a technician with me in the field. And these people, what's been great is people, that personally will give you a hand. In addition to that, ask them who they know who might be in the gig economy or suffering. And so there's always kind of room to, I think there's always room to ask for help, and there's always going to be people who are interested in helping you. Now, don't scrape the bottom of the barrel, because I don't think that's going to help anybody out. That's not going to help you. It's going to cause you to wear your stress, as a badge on your sleeve everywhere you go, all day, every day. And I didn't want to start this business out to be stressed every day. I think it's important. And I didn't take all the perfect steps at the beginning, but I think that it's important to set up at least processes for your guys and train them well. And just like in real estate, it's all about, if you're renting a property, it's all about your tenants. It's all about your tenants. I mean, 90% of the deal is really getting good tenants in your property that have, good jobs, that are going to take care of your property. And that's the same thing that goes with business. So you want to make sure that you're not just taking any person off the street. I'll give you an example. So a neighbor of mine in my neighborhood here, neighbor of mine in my neighborhood, um, his son had recently been let go from just a minimum wage type of job, but it was an outside type of job. He was digging holes or whatever he was doing. So I asked him if he was interested in working with me. I said, "Hey, look, I'll start you off at $15 an hour. I'll pay you cash while you train, and then when you come on board, we'll figure it out." And he's like, "All right, cool." The guy's a hard worker, but completely uninterested in doing this type of work. My three things are, you want to make sure that they are competitive, they're positive people, and that they know how to deliver a quality experience to their clients. So those are the three parameters. So they got to be competitive. They got to make sure that, hey, are you going to want to be competitive with, the other crews, the other members? You want to learn? Are you that kind of person? A team player also goes along with that. Typically, people who've played in sports, they know what it's like to work on a team, even from a young age. I played sports all my life, and I really do believe that if you played like a team sport, you pretty much are set on the right path to work in a team environment. So competitiveness and being a positive person is number two. So competitive, number two is a positive person. You don't want negativity. Negativity is contagious. Negativity is very contagious. If you start having guys who are saying, what the hell, man, this is like so hot out here, and like I don't get paid enough. And well, if you're a positive person, chances are that's going to happen less frequently than if you're like a kind of a negative, pessimistic type of person. So I try and weed out the people who are just kind of like, I could see them being kind of complainy, or they kind of feel entitled, and that might mean issues later down the line if they demand that, let's say, they're having issues with pay. All of a sudden it's like, hey, you didn't pay me that extra hour. Well, honestly, I did. Let's track your hours. And then, it's kind of that kind of thing. So, competitive, positive, and being able to deliver a quality client experience. What does that mean? Quality client experience. I mentioned that in a lot of my videos. So, a quality client experience is one in which they are either wowed or satisfied, extremely satisfied with your professionalism, your attention to detail, your listening skills, your soft skills, building rapport with them. Not everybody's going to want to be your friend, but you have to be professional at all times, and you have to tell them and help them be consultative along the way, meaning your clients deliver a great experience. If they call you, answer the phone with a smile. For instance, I'll tell you right now. So, ring, ring. Hi, thanks for choosing Northeast Wash Pros. This is Mario. How can I assist you today? So when you hear that smile in your voice, when you smile, when you talk, you can really hear it on the other side of the phone, and it translates well. It's the only thing that they can do is listen. So if you're smiling while you're talking, you are setting the bar higher than your competition, who's going to do, this kind of thing. How you doing? Ben's Power Washing. How can we help you? Okay, great. Yeah, we can help you with that. Instead, it's, hey, how are you? Be enthusiastic, be positive, deliver a quality experience. If something was wrong, the other day, I'll tell you, if there's something wrong with a job, jump on it immediately. I I had a window washing situation where we had a new guy who was cleaning windows for us in a large house up in Doylestown, Greater Philadelphia. And I arrived on site to check out his progress. Now, he had done four or five projects prior to. Everybody was extremely happy. Never had an issue. The work order for this particular house was to clean the windows, squeegee them, clean the screens as well, and then clean out the jam in the bottom, so the brie catch jam. So I arrived, and the client was speaking to our guy, and he happened to just have a good rapport with him, which is what I expected. I asked the client, was he happy? And he said, very happy. I'm very happy. Blah blah blah. I see one window that needs to be wiped down or whatever, and we went and wiped that down. And at the end, he actually mentioned, I'd like to, take part in some of your packages or your services. And I thought everything was great. I actually even said to him, I said, well, thank you for the business. Listen, if you feel compelled, don't feel like you're obligated, but we would really appreciate a good Google review. Could you go on and give us a good Google review? Now the guy was, tech savvy. He knew what to do. He's like, oh yeah, I'll give you a Google review. And guess what? The following morning, I got a text from him that said, you asked me to do a Google review. I don't think I'm going to do one because we're not too happy with the job. I thought to myself, but you said you were happy. What changed? And he sent me pictures, and he said upon further review, a closer review of the job. Sorry, my ears just popped. The windows had streaks in them. There was dirt still and debris in the bottom of the windows near the screens, and the screens weren't even cleaned. And I started thinking, I didn't see a screen cleaner out. I mean, he had pretty much packed up by the time I had arrived. My guy had packed up, and I didn't see a screen cleaner out. And I'm thinking, well, okay. Usually there's like an area on the driveway, or that had a ton of water going down, where you could probably say, hey, there's a screen cleaner here, and there wasn't. And I'm thinking, oh well, that was a fast pack up job for whatever he did. Long story short was he didn't even clean the screens. Anyway, I said, wow. Told him the truth. Clients can also smell out bull crap. Okay. They can smell it. Don't lie to clients. If you don't know something, just say, I don't know, but let me get back to you. That is the absolute best phrase that I can give you. Mario, what do you do for a cedar roof shingle? How do you clean that? You know what? Let me research that, or whatever. If I don't know it off the top of my head, I'm not going to say, yeah, you do this. And all of a sudden, they're going to believe me and be like, well, do you subscribe to the procedure of, using sodium percarbonate and blah, blah, and you're like, okay, they just, they just kind of saw through my BS just then. They know I didn't know what I was talking about or whatever. And just say, look, let me look into it. I'm pretty sure I have the process down or whatever it is. Say, I don't know off the top of my head. Let me look at it. Let me ask my foreman, whatever it is, and get the answer and get back to them. It's fine to not know everything. Nobody should expect you to know 100% of everything. Well, anyway, getting back to the story was, he said, I'm not going to leave you a Google review because it's kind of a crappy job. And I said, well, guess what? The guy was new to the crew. He had never had a complaint prior to this. Send me pictures, which he did. And I said, look, my apologies. I'm going to get this cleaned up for you immediately. My guys were on another project. So I actually called in a friend and called in a favor from a local window cleaner that I know. And his name's Seth. And he's a great guy, great businessman. He's a young guy, but he's been doing business for about 8 years. And so he came to the rescue. He swooped in, had his water-fed pole, and he got a screen cleaner out. I actually said I would come down and work it with him. So we met later that afternoon. The following day, in that afternoon, we were both able to stop what we were doing and go and handle that type of issue. So anyway, 5-star review after that. It was great. We saved that, and the things we do to save, just a Google review, but it's what is necessary to build a good foundation. So anyway, making sure that you follow through and taking care of your client to make sure that they have a quality customer experience is super important. And that in and of itself builds your brand. That's what your brand is. Your brand. If it's, John's Power Washing, they're going to look at your Google reviews first and foremost. They're going to ask, see if they recognize any of their neighbors or who knows, and just make sure that they're all 5-star. And any of the 1-stars or 2 or 3 or 4, they're going to probably focus on them. 5 stars are almost expected. And if they don't have a 1 or 2, if they do have a couple 1 or 2 stars, they're going to probably look at those first. I know I do. I say, well, what was the main issue here? Was this someone more of a customer side or more something on the company side? If you cannot fix someone's problem and own it, extreme ownership, got to own everything. You won't deliver a quality experience. So those 3 things. That's basically it. So, hiring guys is very important, and you want to make sure that you are hiring right. That is like just the key, and don't settle for just anybody. So moving on, Chem, we're always adjusting chem, just to make sure, obviously SH, but making sure that we have our F9 products. One Restore product has been great for us. The soap situation has changed a couple times. I've used a couple different things just to see how they smell during a cleaning. Their scent, how strong it is, how easy, does it wash off or rinse off, and that has changed. In fact, so I'll give you a little bit of a hint. I actually started going to the restaurant store and picking up 5-gallon containers for about $40 and $38 or something to that effect. So I get like a 5-gallon bucket and I throw it into the back of the Gen 3 soap, soap container, and been working out pretty well. It's cheap enough and it works for our purposes. If something else comes by in a pinch, we might go to the dollar store and get like half a gallon of, like laundry detergent or something. And that's usually like a good fix for the short term. So, we're working on developing our packages, and we're working on staying in touch with all of our clients. I really want to get back into a good, email blast system, like, that just spits out, a quick newsletter snapshot of the company, what we're doing, what we're focused on, and any deals going on, reminders of, basically depending on the month, be careful of XYZ, just trying to put some content out there that's worth their quick glance. And if they like something, they'll read. Maybe for everybody's attention span so fast these days. So if they're looking at it and they go, I'm uninterested, I'll just delete it. And so anyway, as of right now, 2020 goals, we're working on, increasing our August numbers. We have actually booked out some of September. People, believe it or not, in July were saying, yeah, I want to have my house cleaned in September. So we've booked them for September. I've had a couple big jobs kind of come up, and we're going to probably start booking them for the end of this week into next week. But right now, today, we have 0 jobs. So, gave my guys, the day off, and I'm here making a video. I'm actually in the office, and I'm just kind of doing some general cleaning up of everything. Organization is key, guys. If you have any questions about what I'm doing or you want to add something in, please feel free to do that. Look, I want to make a space in a channel for everyone to kind of come to see how I was feeling during this time. What did I do to improve my situation? How did I problem solve? And you know what? Actually, that's a great point. I'll dive into that really quickly. Problem solving is 100% of this business. I think most businesses. Okay, so if you have a 9-to-5 job, you're problem solving, I'm sure, most of the time. But when you have your own business, it is 24/7 that you're married to this thing, and you are problem solving everything from the equipment to logistically. How do we clean houses that are 15 miles apart? Do we try to book them out? But if we have no second house or third house in that area, anyway, so logistics, problem solving is huge, but don't get overwhelmed with it. Just use a KISS model. Keep it simple, stupid, right? The KISS model has saved me many, many times. So anyway, read a book, like I've been reading, let's see, The E-Myth, Profit First. I have Unbreakable by Tony Robbins up here, Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink, Rainmaker. I have a whole bunch of different books that I'm kind of reading at the same time, which is not my normal MO, but it's something that I've just been doing lately to kind of, I guess, spread myself out. I would love the chance to just kind of regroup and just say, okay, let's start this half over. It might be something that I do right now. Let's start fresh. Let's continue with the processes we have in place, but also improve those. So anyway, look, this is my first live, and it's August 5th today, 8/5/2020, and Mario Northeast Wash Bros. I hope you guys learned a few things. Please comment, subscribe, and recommend people to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. I think that the community of pressure washing is it's applicable to anything, contracting work. It's home services. It's learning and it's hearing a positive message. keeping that positive mentality is huge, guys. You got to stay positive, man. That is like, you start getting negative, that's when you give up. And that's when you start saying, "Ugh, I really don't want to pick up the phone today." Guess what? Spend time to make time. Actually, an old boss told me that once. He's like, spend time to make time. You need to sit down and say, when are you going to make phone calls? Phone calls are best done starting 9 o'clock in the morning. I find morning calls are the best. People are awake. They haven't really started their day. They're really more willing to talk to you or get back to you if you leave a message. End of the day, people want to go home. They want to get back to their home lives. They want to make dinner, want to get the kids taken care of. Mornings, guys, mornings. And on the weekends, Sundays, I try to Sundays like 11 a.m. I might call or noon just to confirm a couple days for the week coming up. Saturday mornings seem to be pretty cool too. Starting at 11 to noon, 10 to noon is a good time frame in the morning to make your calls. And don't be afraid of the phone call, guy. This guy can be daunting. You get on the phone and you start talking to people, and I still sometimes misrepresent myself or get nervous over the phone with certain clients. I had a guy who had like a $2 million house, and he's asking me to clean almost everything on the property. And and I'm like, what do I say? What do I do? So I just take my time and keep it simple and be genuine, be yourself, stay positive. And if you have questions or concerns, let me know, guys. So I'm going to sign off right now, and hopefully some people will get some benefit out of this. All right. You have a great day. Again, Mario, Northeast Wash Pros, mywashpros.com or 610-984-1234. If you're in Greater Philly, look me up. Otherwise, I'll look for your messages, and please subscribe. Talk to you later, guys. Keep it clean. See ya.